Hey everyone, welcome to the Trendcrusher podcast. I'm Peter K. On this episode, I'm speaking to Midhaven. Yeah, the boys are back on the podcast with new music and an upcoming tour. Lots of laughs as always with the boys from Midhaven. Here's my chat with them. Wow. So it's crazy that we've actually found a cafe which is quiet or relatively quiet on a Friday night in Bandra. And so without further ado, I've got the boys from Midhaven with me. Karan, Aditya, welcome to the podcast, and I guess welcome back.
Thank you. We're less caffeinated now, so really happy to be back, man.
Yeah, we can give you a decent interview this time instead of just cackling around like SpongeBob like the last time.
Yeah, the thing is, I don't know how you guys have such memories. It was quite fun, but I do remember a lot of caffeine being consumed at that last chat. In case you're wondering what we're talking about, well, you know what? I'm just going to leave a link to that in the show notes and you can just see the difference, the before and after. But okay, wow. So a lot has happened since the last time we chatted. I mean, you guys released a new single. You're 4 days away from playing Japan and doing a tour of sorts.
And we did another tour. We did another tour earlier this year where we played a couple of shows in France with Bloodywood and Demonic Resurrection. You forgetting that?
Oh yeah, that was there. And also you all played Nepal. Lots of places to start off with, but let's start off with new music. I mean, we've been bumping into each other at shows here in Bombay quite often, and every time I meet Karan, I'm gonna do my best impression of Karan. Is like, hey man, we've got some new music coming soon. I'm gonna hit you up via email, and so you've got one single out right now, The Vailer. Karan, Aditya, who wants to go first? Okay, cool. Go for it, Karan.
Well, we have a new single out for everybody, and it's called The Vailer, and we're super excited to share this with the world. It's been about, I think, 15 days since it launched, since it dropped, and it's got some hidden meanings and some pretty obvious meanings as well, and we're really excited, man. It's about hubris and ego. It's our heaviest song yet, so hold on.
Okay, so one of the things I don't know who I messaged or who I kind of told, was you guys have suddenly and I think there's an obvious direction towards being heavier itself. There is that sludge element still. Let's not get into further material and stuff, but is this like a kind of, what do I say, directional shift for further material? Like what people can expect from Midhaven in the coming, I don't know, few singles, EP, album?
So I don't think it's a permanent shift or like a directional shift, orientation shift of any sort. I think there was a moment where we entered the jam room with our ex-drummer Aviraj Kumar, and we had written a few riffs, we'd written a few motifs here and there, and we'd sort of prepped for him to come down from Malaysia and sit with us for writing some music. And he sort of walks in and he's just like, I don't know, all of this is like really, it's nice, but it's too rocky. I want to do something heavy. I want to do some metal. I want to do something toad ford, as he said. Right. So I think with that, the Vailer was born, and I think directionally the kind of stuff we're working on right now, which you will. I think the first song you're going to hear early next year would be perhaps in March or April, supporting our upcoming show at Desert Fest. That's going to be extremely different. It's going to be nothing like anything you ever heard. The Vailer still, sonically, it picked up off of where the previous album was, while also departing from that a little bit in some ways. But the upcoming material is going to sound totally, completely different. It's going to sound like a new band.
So I normally don't do this, but since you all have kind of talked so much about the Vailer, I think let's give people a listen of the Vailer. Let's drop it now. I think there's no better time. and that was The Veiler by Midhaven, and I've got the boys from the band here with me. Uh, okay, so let's talk about, I mean, I like how you kind of described the whole vibe as Tod Ford, because I think that's very quintessential, like Mumbai metalheads and stuff. And you know, it's interesting that we're talking about that, because I have like this theory, right, that while Indian metal has like this very distinct sound, so to say, but even each city, if you kind of go deeper down, right, has like a very how do I say, like very unique sound.
Cultural identity.
Yeah. I mean, like, if anyone's been to Bombay, you know it's crowded, noisy, MCBC, you know, all that kind of stuff. So either I feel, you know, you go directionally. Either you do departure from all of that, which is like fantasy, loses all of that, or you get into like the grime and dirt of Bombay. So what would you say? I don't know. And this is just something I don't know if you all have thought of before, but what would you say was like the elements that you all picked up? Like, what makes Midhaven a Mumbai or a Bombay band? Who wants to go for this?
I have a little for it, right? Like, so I think Bombay to me has this quality which I think can be summed up in the word grind, right? And the grind can be your daily hustle, or it can be you grinding your jaw in the goddamn traffic, trying to get somewhere simple, trying to get to work, you know. And I think that the feeling that evokes, the feeling of this, it's a very visceral feeling. It's happening under my skin constantly, and that is fueled by the madness that is Bombay, right? I think the madness manifest in the chaos is a lot of where our music comes from. You know, personally, that's my take on it. Do you have a take on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bombay to me has always been, I mean, Bombay metal scene specifically. Adi talked about like what Mumbai is in general, but the Mumbai metal scene has been like so many different bands, so many different sounds, and everyone like trying their level best to have the most Tod Ford gig. You just mentioned Tod Ford. That is a Bombay term. It's a Mumbai metal term through and through. So when Aviraj actually said the word Tod Ford, we understood like in a millisecond. Like what he wants, we're delivering. The next riff is going to be Tod Ford. So I think that's where it really comes down to. You say Tod Ford to maybe a Delhiite, they probably won't get it. Like, I'm talking about the Mumbai metal Tod Ford. You know, so I mean, I think quintessentially, we are a Mumbai metal band. And I think it's gonna bleed into our music anyway, anyhow. It's just who we are.
Yeah, and I think the grind is also one of those things, right? Because like I'm really jogging my memory and thinking back to like my early shows at Raz and things like that, where it was chaos. That's the only way. And I think like it was also that chaos where everyone kind of got lost, because that's where you could kind of channel all your energy, all your pent up frustration and things like that. I mean, when I'm thinking about the first iRock I went to, that was like, I don't know, mind blowing. That's the only way I can say, because, you know, while a lot of metal, I think, and I've spoken about this on the podcast in the past, right, where you feel it's a very lonely kind of journey where, you know, only I feel this, and then you suddenly see like, I don't know, 1,000 odd people all screaming, shouting, moshing. It is nuts. It is proper, like, I don't know, crazy thing. I mean, it's so strange that I'm talking about this, because Aditya and I talked about this yesterday. Is Scepter is again a very quintessential metal band from Bombay.
Yeah.
They know that people love their Metallica, Slayer and stuff like that. And watching them on like a large stage playing Metallica was like the closest a lot of people in the mid 2000s got to watching Metallica until Metallica actually came down, right? So yeah, it's crazy. Wow, I didn't expect us to take this turn in the chat. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, like staying on the trip of nostalgia, right? Because Karan and I were before we hit record, talking about the first time we connected, which blows my mind, was 11 years ago. And I still remember getting an email from Sahil, who was running Demon Stealer PR at that time, saying, "Hey, there's this band." Yeah. And what do you think, like, and this is again a question probably you can answer and then maybe you can chime in. What do you think has stayed consistent over the last 11 years, right? Because, like, from the time you guys first started out to now, there's been obviously an evolution in sound and all of that. But what do you think is still quintessential Midhaven?
Me. I don't know how you didn't see that coming. I know you saw it coming. He was laughing before I said it. I went, and he started Yeah, man, Midhaven's my baby, dude. And it's been, it's finally grown up. And it has another parent now. And the other parent's also a dude. Which is... I love it, man. It's just, I think Midhaven is, I think it'll always talk about mythology. That's one thing, for sure. It will always talk about mythology. And maybe not, maybe we could move away from that. But I think Aditya and I are really interested in just Indian mythology more than anything. And being able to represent that through metal music, nothing heavier than that, possibly. What happened?
No. So maybe then you're the right person to answer this.
Actually, because I'm me.
Yeah. What is, I mean, like, and again, this is just based on the conversation we were having earlier, right? Where we're talking about like Indianness and things like that. And sorry, I have to bring this up as part of this conversation, not because you guys played with Bloody Wood, but there's that entire gimmicky side of it, right? But, you know, it's about representing values, representing whatever. And you guys are not doing that. You guys have always been that. I mean, like, before there was a Bloody Wood, there was a Midhaven. Yeah. And you guys were still doing that entire sound. Yeah. So, what's still, and especially like in a time like 2025, right, where it is about algorithm, it is about PR image, it's all about that, right? Before people actually get into the music, and then, you know, on the other hand, there's someone who will never listen to the music but say, "Hey, that's a cool T-shirt."
Yeah.
Does that kind of play in your mind while you're working on the music and everything that else comes along with it?
In an extremely roundabout, winding manner, yes. You know, I think also to answer your previous question to Karan and to add to that, I think there's this set of themes that we work with. Like, there's these characteristics that I believe makes Midhaven what it is. And I'm coming from the standpoint of someone who used to previously be a fan before joining the band, right? I think one of the things that is really unique to my experience in this band is that the thinking has always been very framework oriented. We've always thought about things on a thematic level. So even when there's songwriting happening, there's riffage happening in the studio, or if you're thinking about lyrics, or if you're thinking about art, or all of it, it's all sort of in a super convoluted manner, but like a calculated chaos. It happens in its, it's all happening at once, and it's all sort of feeding each other, and it's like this very, very amorphous blob of a work ethic.
Actually, can I add to that?
Sure.
Yeah. To answer the first part of your question, the watching Bloody Wood live in France to white people, to white culture, was also like that. Really taught me a lot. Taught both of us a lot. It showed us they've not heard Indian sounds. We might come from a purist angle or whatever you want to call it, but we're just having fun making music. Bloody Wood is also having fun making music, and it's a different style, another subgenre of metal. But man, the people, they were losing their minds because they were dancing to it. They were exporting Bhangra essentially, and using the metal genres to, capture that sound. And people had never heard that in their lives. So playing France, I loved watching Bloodywood live. You know?
No, and I think, sorry. No, and I completely agree with you, right? Like, I think the angle I was kind of talking about is that, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know how you want to look at it, is that Bloodywood has become the reference. So whether we like it or not, uh, they're the first reference point for a lot of people. And again, I'm not sure I've said this in the past or not in the podcast, but I loved Bloodywood when they did covers because they had a unique take. It was fun. That was like, and again, coming from someone who's like, the purest angle, right? Like, metal is supposed to be this. These guys took like Bhangra music and made it fun. They did all those covers on top of a tractor and shit like that. Yeah. And I think the humor was what hooked me onto them. So I totally get it. And I think that was like a great kind of way, and from a very strange analogy, that was like them getting people hooked at their reach. And now they've just got like people eating out of their palms, buying merch, buying yeah.
Aprons.
Tadka aprons, the vinyl which is colored like a naan. I was just like, wow, it is something. But coming back closer to you guys, right? I mean, I'm very curious, and especially since you said mythology, right? Again, this brings me back to another reference I have of at least talking about Indian culture and mythology. The first band I actually heard doing this was not Veda, Rudra.
Yeah, they call themselves
From Vedic metal, right? And they kind of packaged it and things like that. I think there was a phase I really enjoyed them. I still buy some of their CDs and stuff like that.
Metal, they call them Mahabharata metal.
Yeah, but these guys were doing this like back in the 90s and stuff like that, right? And by the way, I think, if I'm not mistaken, their frontman is like heavily into like wellness and meditation and stuff like that. So this is not just like, it's not someone cosplaying all of this, right? Like, he's heavily into it. They do a lot of research and stuff like that. What's the process? I'm very curious for you guys. Like, do you all kind of, or what kind of spark? So, for lack of other reference, like, if the Wailer or any other tracks that you're working on, what's that impetus or that initial spark of inspiration that then takes you all down writing?
Nice question, but it's a lovely question. The answer is not so straightforward, right? I think it really ultimately comes from a super ephemeral, very intuitive space. I think I'll answer your earlier, not answer, but like refer back to your earlier comment and reflections about Bloodywood, and then maybe that organically leads us to where we're going right now, right? So I think when we set out to write the previous album titled Of the Lotus and the Thunderbolt, the decision to write about myth was something that Karan and I agreed on so strongly that I think that agreement sort of sparked massive like mutual like interest in like what does it mean to be raised with these stories, these character archetype, these thematic elements of just eventhood, and what does that mean for the human soul, the human sentience, And I think a lot of our inspiration, while it's come from there, it's also come from daily mundane life that sort of draws from, say like your daily frustrations, your daily aspects of your life that are not so high in the clouds and, sort of on earth with you. It's dirty, it's mucky, right? Now, when we talk about a place like India, I think Bloodywood has really cracked the Western market by sort of playing the white man's stereotype back to themselves, and I think it's genius of them to have cracked something that no Indian band has ever cracked, right? I think it's a historic moment for all of us, and Bloodywood's at the center of all of that. While that being said, we'd always, when we were writing the previous album also, and we wanted to write about myth, and the aspect of Indian culture, quote unquote, in the music was inalienable from the music that we were writing, right? Because of the decision we made. So when we started writing and we start planning our release, the question of okay, we are presenting our music abroad to North India, sorry, North America and Europe and UK. How is it to be presented? What is the package here? How are we selling this? If we are selling this, how are we selling this? What exactly are they receiving from us, right? The Bloodywood takes a very, let's say, folk aspect of our culture. It takes our food, tadka. It takes the bhangra, the dhol, sorry, which is a bhangra instrument. It's a folk instrument, right? What we have drawn from is a lot of the ritual and like a lot of the myth making processes, right? Like that's sort of what we drew on from. And the thing is, we're quintessentially an underground band. We both started off in the underground. We've been underground musicians from the Mumbai underground metal scene for as long as we can remember. So the approach was not really to cater or pander to anybody's tastes in that sense, but to give the listeners our take on what would it be like if metal didn't shy away from the fact that it was happening in India. Indian metal didn't need to sound homogenous when compared to metal from other parts of the world, right? While not sort of also pandering to the Indianness aspect of it. We didn't want that to be at the forefront of what we were presenting. And it's really like we while we are citizens of India, we're also global citizens, and I think that is what we really wanted to present and situate ourselves in between, say, our genre affiliations, whether you call us sludge, desert rock, whatever, psych metal, or whether you call us like, oh, that band that writes about that Indian stuff. The thing is, it's not going to be easy to define us in that sense, right? And I think that's kind of what our intent was also.
And also, sorry, there's something I really want to say that you said the approach of how we wrote the music, just like as esoteric as it comes off to be, it's also a sound that can be enjoyed by like anybody, people who listen to any genre. We're not necessarily trying to be metal. Oh, we're so metal. We love metal. We are from the metal scene, but necessarily no. It's rock and roll with metal tones. It's got heavy metal highbrow stuff, sure, but it's also got we've got Zithro, like that's chanting and drums in the background, so it's just what we felt. There you go.
Okay. So, talking about mythology is quite interesting, right? But do you all kind of then get a chance to listen to similar bands or music? Or do you all kind of stay clear of anything from that sound? And if you all do, what's the kind of music that you all kind of enjoy? And it could be metal or non-metal.
Like together or individually?
I would say individually, because I don't think you'll sit and listen to music together.
Once in a while.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
I think, see, we listen to a lot of things, right? We listen to pretty much everything. If to be pointed, if you're talking about the influences that we directly borrow from, which come from classical and folk and just basically pre-colonial forms of Indian music, yes, absolutely, there's a lot of listening to that. But I think, there are other artists in metal who are sort of somewhere along the same lines as us. Now, we're not really tellers of mythology in the sense that we make our music. We're sort of more, the approach is more allegorical, I would say. The approach is more metaphysical than mythological. We're using themes, yes, we're using ideas born of the myth, but not necessarily telling the story that the myth is telling, right? We're reflecting upon it and we're drawing from it, but we are not narrating it. In that sense. And yes, there are bands, in a certain way. If you look at a lot of the, a lot of work from the corpus of a lot of the bands that we love, like and we enjoy, I think mutually, especially like Tool and Mastodon, I think are two names that sort of have heavily embraced the mysticism and the lucidity that comes with borrowing themes from mythology. So I think there is this niche, especially within today's metal. There is a niche that allows for this kind of rumination this kind of reflection, Karan?
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know if we're necessarily borrowing from any bands, but yes, we're influenced by a ton of bands. And I'll actually go over the same thing. Tool and Mastodon is something that Aditya and I listened to together and really enjoy that. But apart from that, I mean, I listen to individually everything from rap to rock and roll and classic rock and everything. But I don't know. I'm always wanting to discover cool new bands that I generally I'm on the lookout for. And honestly, Desert Fest is going to show us a lot of new cool sludge bands.
Okay, we're going to talk about Desert Fest in a bit, but since you kind of talked about new bands, I do a segment on the podcast called What Are You Listening To? So if you need help from your phones or Spotify or whatever, I think fire up those apps. But
What are you listening currently? Or like
yeah, what you're currently listening to. And it can be new, old, whatever. So Aditya, take it away.
I think since the Desert Fest announcement, I've been extremely excited about listening to a lot of stoner, sludge, doom, desert kind of stuff. I sort of there's this band that Karan showed me actually called Gaupa. I think that's how you say their name. That's a really sick band. There's I think another sludge act called Wo Fat. That's a really cool act. I love their stuff. And I've also been listening to a lot of the early Queens of the Stone Age stuff with Mark Lanigan. And also the supergroup titled Them Crooked Vultures with John Paul Jones. And I think that's honestly that, and mainly my little grunge playlist with we will listen to some Screaming Trees on the way here. That's kind of the zone I'm in right now. But you never know, it might change. Might listen to some bhajan or some electronic music or some gangster rap. You never know, man.
I mean, today has been a very strange day for me. My song in the shower was Mr. Bungle. I had a great time revisiting that album.
Fun shit to listen to in the shower, man.
Especially Mr. Bungle Pink Cigarette. That song, today's shower, was 5 hours long.
That does not sound right.
Best best fucking shower I've had in probably 5 years. Had to meet you today, Miss Peter. But Mr. Bungle is on my currently played today. And also, funnily enough, I got back into Clutch after a year. Just because, man, they were playing at Desert Fest and I was so excited. I wanted to listen to all of Clutch again. And then there's this, there was Melly Mel, this 90s superstar rap, kind of very underground, part of this Tony Hawk's playlist called Musker Beats 1212 that I got really back into and was just tripping, man. So, apart from all the regular music that we do listen to, Mr. Bungle really stands out, I'd say.
So since we've already talked about Desert Fest, the main band that I'm really jealous that you guys are both going to see is Green Lung.
Oh, I love Green Lung.
I love them.
They huge name for themselves recently and it's incredible.
Yeah, I mean the last couple of albums I've really, really enjoyed. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, and someone can correct me, but their album was one of the top 5 albums a couple of years ago for me, and that's, again, considering the amount of music I listen to, says a lot.
London, actually.
Yeah, they're from London.
So Green Lung headlining is beautiful. Oh, sorry, give me that. I'm also really excited that there's a band called Liquid Shit that's playing right after us. So I'm really excited to be playing with Liquid Shit.
But I like to say as his friend, this dude plays with Liquid Shit very often, even when the music's not involved.
Okay, but again, Desert Fest is.
Every year we'll have an interview and you're just going to lose your cancer. His own age.
But Desert Fest is still a while away. Like I kind of spoke at the start. Like I kind of mentioned at the start, you're days away from flying out to Japan. And you're playing with Origin and Defleshed. I don't know. Let's get initial reactions to first, playing in Japan, and then second, playing with Origin. What the fuck?
I think this one's a very. This is a okay. It could be a joke in this, but actually, it's just apt. We played in June, just before Gutslit, and it's felt like we warmed up the crowd for Gutslit. As beautiful as that show was, Gutslit is at another level of energy. They come and shit on the crowd. Like, it's beautiful. The MCPCs, the galis that are going around, and people. I mean, it was a lovely set. But that sparked an idea that we could probably want to play for death metal bands. And why not? So we reached out, and Origin was the right band to open for, I guess. And we're also, by the way, playing with some local. The last gig is with some local bands in Japan: Wombscape, Black Market, Red Sheer, and Abi Euro. Yes. And they're going to be incredible. Can't wait to play that show as well.
Now that he said everything about us playing with all the bands in Japan and stuff, I would like to take a moment to talk about Japan. I love Japan. I'm so excited to go to Japan. I've been thinking about going to Japan since I was 4 years old or something, and it's just like I never imagined we'd go there and like go there to play a show. Like, you know, I think that's I'm super excited to see what the musical ethos is like, what the crowd is like. We've only heard a few things about it, so it's almost like this, like just dipping our toes into the water. There's almost feels like market research somehow, you know. First few shows in Japan, you know. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, I mean, Gutslit played there with Nile. Yeah, and they played with Nile, I think, last year. And that was like crazy to see. And I mean, there's something about like Japan, right? And the culture over there. It's strange also, like you have these technical and brutal death metal bands, and for anyone who's like fans of any kind of music, you'll always find a live in Japan, live in Budokan, I don't know, all these kind of shows. Budak, yeah, it's like crazy. And then of course there's Fuji Rock, which is like a great festival out of there. But really glad for you guys. Looking forward to all the kind of videos that you're gonna put out from there. Especially videos featuring my good friend Abbas, who's also playing with you for the second time, I must add.
The audience doesn't get it, man. We need a whole interview section just for Abbas Razvi's.
Yeah. Abbas of Godless, I mean, legend from Hyderabad, and now second time. I hope he survives this tour with Midhaven. I mean,
I hope the beer in Japan survives the tour with Abbas.
But all jokes aside, I mean, I know this is kind of like towards the end of the year, but and I talked about music probably releasing in like March and stuff like that. What can you share so far? I mean, is it going to be a longer release, singles again? I don't know. Does it matter? Do you guys actually care about how the music will finally be distributed? Is that something that you'll think about?
We do think about it. We think about it a lot, actually. But all we do is think about it. We don't do it. No, that's just jokes. That's just jokes. Do not listen to the previous interview, guys. But yeah, no. So that is something we do actively consider. I think we're gonna warm up our listenership by releasing a single early in the next year, and I think around the third quarter we'll be dropping an EP. That's the plan. And if it doesn't happen, blame Karan.
If the EP turns into an album, blame Aditya.
Yeah, I'll take all the credit for that. But yeah, we have a few shows coming up early next year. In the country itself, you'll be hearing a lot more if you follow us on Instagram. We're definitely playing another set of shows west of India next year as well.
On that note, I think we're already setting a date for our next podcast, which probably is going to be 6 months from now. Hey, who knows? Someone may actually be listening to this podcast back then. But this is what it's like before the guys headed out to Japan. And if you're watching this or listening, if you're listening to this before they head to Japan, check out their social media, check out the Vela, and yeah, thanks so much, guys. I mean, it's always fun talking to you guys, and I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you so much for having us, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us, Peter. We love you.
Say that again. It sounds like you said pedo.
Thank you so much, Peter. We love you. Koti Kala Puri. I said it right? Yeah.
You got it right. Cheers, guys.
And that was my chat with the boys from Midhaven. It's always fun talking to them and yeah, shooting the shit. Do check out their new music. I'm going to leave a link to all in the show notes. If you're in Japan and listening to this episode, do check them out there in your city this week with Origin and Defleshed. I've got a few episodes up my sleeve this month. Stay tuned for that. To know when the next episode's out, follow me on social media. I'm Trendcrusher on all social media platforms, or hit subscribe or follow on whichever platform you're listening to this episode on. I'll see you all very soon. Cheers.